Hello, hello. We are back for week 2 on the booktube. I'm gonna keep trying to put out a video every Thursday, and so we're here. It's a little late. I'm doing this Thursday night, and I'm literally going to upload it like as soon as I get done. But I'm trying to stay consistent. So here we are, and I am honestly so proud of myself for doing this. It has been such a long time coming, but I have finished the book, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I've had this on my TBR, even on my bookshelf for like a year now because I read Mistborn forever ago. I don't like a year and a half ago, I want to say. And I loved it. I gave all the books 5 stars, even The Well of Ascension, which gets way too much hate. I really enjoyed The Well of Ascension. I don't understand all the hate for it. It was more political aspects, not as much action as the first and especially the third book, but it was so well done, I feel like. But moving past. I read Mistborn and then I read Elantris, which I did enjoy. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars, I can't remember off the top of my head, and then I read a bunch of the short stories from the Arcanum Unbounded. I had a list, like a little guide of the reading order and which short stories to read that every other, like, book talk person will make for it, and so I read those. I did enjoy those. Emperor's Soul is such a good little short story slash novella, whatever it's technically called. I really enjoyed that, and then we got to The Way of Kings afterwards, and I made it like maybe a chapter into it, maybe not even that. And then it was just such a hectic time in life because that was at the point of Hurricane Helene. Maybe you've heard of it. Hopefully you've heard of it. And so, with having to find a new home and things like that, this book just got put on the back burner. And honestly, just due to the sheer size of it and like the intimidation, I never got around to it because I just read like the little smaller books whenever like I just had the time. And so recently I started thinking like, hey, especially with Win and Truth coming out not too long ago and seeing so many people talk about Brandon Sanderson, it was just like, I need to get around to this. I want to read this book. It's time. I have no excuse left in me as to why I shouldn't. And so I finally did it. And boy, what a ride it was. My little book here is the small mass market version. I prefer these because I know some people like hardcover books and things like that, but I, even for a book this huge, I like just like being able to hold it with one hand and read it, you know? So like I like the mass market books. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but I do. I think it's so much easier to read it instead of having such a huge book. But yeah, 1252 pages. And the one thing that I can't agree on with everyone else is I can agree that it is a lot of world building. That is a fact that I can agree on. I mean, 1200 pages for pretty much just like an exposition into like the world, and honestly still not really fully understanding how the magic and things like that work. If you haven't read the book yet, before I say any more, I do want to say I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as I can. I don't want to say any major plot points or things like that. I'm going to talk about the characters a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to throw out like huge spoilers that would ruin the experience if you've never read the book before. This is just talking about it vaguely. But what I was gonna say is I can definitely see like the exposition part, but what I always like to remind myself and other people even is that, I mean, in a series that is this long, there are 5 books out right now when the series is planned to be 10 as of this point, and literally every single one of these books is 11, 1200 plus pages, considering the mass market versions. I don't know how much the regular size ones are, but the mass market versions all over 11, 1200 pages. You can't really expect a lot to happen in like the first like little couple hundred pages. I, because you just have to give the book time to cook. You know what I'm saying? You have to, um, you have to let it build up into the action and let the world building happen and give the characters time so you understand like their actions. You know what I'm trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say. It's just expressing it, but you just have to give Brandon Sanderson time to build it all up. That way it's worth it. if Kaladin would have just started going crazy, you know, I I'm not gonna say what, but if he would have just started being crazy in like the first couple hundred pages, I wouldn't have wanted to read the rest. You know, like I enjoy having that build up and that anticipation because it gets to a point where I'm like, oh, is this gonna be it? Is this when it's gonna happen? And I love that. I do love that part of the book. I I like the little interludes too. And honestly, something that helped me appreciate them a lot more is watching. I did not really realize this at first. Maybe this is a problem with myself, and this is also not a big spoiler, but not really a spoiler at all, I would dare say. But it helped me when I watched Smitty on TikTok interview Brandon Sanderson talking about the interludes, and hearing Brandon Sanderson like say that they don't really, the characters in those don't matter, because I was always stressing myself out about remembering like every tiny little detail and every single character name that popped up. But those interludes are pretty much just like a random other like just thing happening in the world. They they don't have anything really like to stress myself out about remembering. Um I'm sure in the future books you can like look back and it's like a little like foreshadowing and things like that. But as of where I'm at right now, just reading the first book, that's what's going on. But Kaladin, honestly, such a good character. I I enjoyed the Shallan chapters. I believe that's how you pronounce her name, based on the audiobook. But I don't know. It's I liked her more towards the end, and again, it's such a long book. You just kind of have to give the characters time to develop. And but I don't know. I feel like the first half of hers just kind of dragged. It really wasn't until the like literally like the last quarter of her story that I was like, oh, like Shallan could like start being one of my more favorite characters and not just one of those that I speed read through the chapter with. Um I am like I'm interested in how the sprints work. That was weird. I'm interested in how the sprints work. I don't really understand. I mean, I know it's intentional. I don't understand how they correlate to the magic and things like that in the story yet. I've heard they are important in the later books. So like obviously like I'm paying as much attention as I can, but I'm just kind of left in the dark right now. I am interested though to see how those tie in together. Maybe there's context clues that I didn't realize yet. I know there's specifically a little interlude with the ardent and the woman who's like measuring the sprints, and like the sprints stay the same uh like the same size based on what she writes down after they're measured. So I don't know if that's going to be more important in some like different aspect later on like in the books, but I did think that was interesting. I wish things like that, like little things and interludes, could be more played upon in like the normal chapters with the normal characters. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see, or I'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure some of y'all have probably already read the whole series. But one of my favorite characters too that I just wish we could have seen more of was I I honestly hate that I can't know, I don't know how to say his name offhand, but Seth son Villano, Truthless of Shinovar. I honestly loved his character. I loved just how much the magic and the abilities was shown through him. I can't wait until there's more of that, like once the world building is done and like that's just ready to happen. I loved those little short sequences in the interludes, and I just can't wait for um other characters to like finally figure out how to do that. I honestly don't know how that's even gonna happen, but Seth's chapters were some of my favorites in the entire book, even though they were probably not even 5% of the whole story. He was definitely a top three character for me. I really enjoyed that. But I'm just kind of rambling on right now about the book. So I do just want to say I ended up giving this a 4 star. Nothing against the book personally. It's just due to the fact that after I've read Mistborn and gave all those books an easy 5 stars, and just how much I've heard the later books, especially I believe Words of Radiance. I want to say it's called. Just how much I've heard that those are good. I want to give this a 4 star. That way, there's room to grow up to the 5 star. Excuse me. And just because it didn't quite hit the same level for me as Hero of Ages. I'm sure the series will by the end of it. I'm sure the series as a whole will probably surpass Mistborn just based off how much I enjoyed this one. I just want to give it that room to grow for me. So I do think a 4 star is a solid one for this book. Also, just because of the sheer amount of world building and exposition that it had in it. But I am really looking forward to hearing the rest of the story. Brandon Sanderson, as I've said many times before, and as I'll probably say many times in the future, remains one of my favorite fantasy authors of all time. Um, I'm trying to figure out what book I'm gonna read next. I finished this yesterday. I just haven't really figured out what I want to read next for the month. I'm on like a self-imposed book buying ban right now, so I'm forcing myself not to just go out and instantly buy Oathbringer to read. So we're still figuring it out right now. I have a few things on my mind for the rest of this month. I said before I don't have it on hand with me right now. I do want to read the book I Who Have Never Known Men. I want to say it's called. I Who Have Never Known Man. That I've seen floating around with a lot of different creators. I have the book. I'm 20, 30 pages in right now. So that might be the next one I finish. I'm kind of taking it slow because it's just a completely different vibe of book than I usually read. I'm a huge fantasy guy, as you probably can tell. Um, Sorry, when I look to the side, I have a whiteboard up beside my bookcase, like stuck to the wall, and it has all my TBR up there. I'm also considering my next book to maybe be The Martian, right here by Andy Weir. Um, Let me grab it right here. Uh, I saw the movie a very long time ago. I also read Andy Weir's other book, Project Hail Mary, which maybe you've heard of. If you haven't, check it out. But that's a story for another time. Amazing book, 5 star book for me. But I really do want to read The Martian. After reading Project Hail Mary, I feel like Andy Weir is an insta buy sci-fi author for me. We will see after The Martian if that holds true. But I definitely think I'll pick this up. I think it's probably between those two books right now for me. I do have a pretty good list. You can look at my previous video if you want to go through every single one of my May hopefuls, but these are the two that I'm thinking about doing next. There is one that is not on the list, and that is a short little book here called The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. This is one of my girlfriend's favorite books, actually. So I got her opinion on it. I'm gonna show you right here. We have a huge little Lynn Painter stack of books, and that's probably her favorite author. And so I was thinking, why don't I mix it up since I can't make myself decide on a book. Why don't I just mix it up and let her choose a short little romance book that I can blow through in a couple of days? And she convinced me to read Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter like a year and a half ago, maybe. It honestly probably hasn't even been that long. But I read Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter um, a very long time ago, and so she picked out, like I said, The Love Wager, which is a another book in a standalone series, so you can read them in any order. And that's on the list too. I think I'll probably read that just to give me a genre break. My bad. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I'm just trying to make sure I don't get too exhausted with fantasy because as much as I do love it, it is a lot to remember reading so many different fantasy series at the same time, having to remember so many characters, so many worlds, so many magic systems all at the same time. So I just want to have me a relaxing book to read. But those are my plans right now. Uh, I think it's gonna be a good rest of the month reading. I did start out strong. I love Way of Kings, but I just want to relax. Now that is a lot to keep on my mind, and I'm thinking next month I'll probably pick up Oathbringer and continue the series there. I'm looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, it was a fun time. I've been inspired to start doing these videos by the man Books Are Sick, which I see started doing it as a challenge to do it for a year straight, 52 weeks straight. And so here we are, week 2. Um, but yeah, I'll see y'all next Thursday, hopefully with a more interesting and expansive reading journey. Way of Kings just took up so much of my life the past few weeks, and so I just had to dedicate time to talking about it because I enjoyed that book so much, and I was so happy to finish it. But yeah, I'll see y'all next Thursday. I hope you have an incredible week, and let me know what you thought about all these books I've talked about in the comments. See you later.